Welcome to Sunny Day Stamping. My name is Julie Baca and I love to share card making ideas and tips. I also sell the supplies. Sign up for my weekly email to get free project sheets and updates on sales. Today's card is another really simple one. You just need black and white and choose an accent color. Let me show you close up. This card is really simple, but it does have a lot going on that really doesn't take that much time. We've got some die cuts, some embossing, and this is kind of a fun fold. Just fold this over onto itself so you can see what is underneath. Now to create this just interesting little fun fold, you're going to take your regular card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, which is kind of your normal card base, and it's going to be scored at 4.25 here, which is normal, and 5/8 inches here. So then you're going to fold this in half just like a regular card. I'm going to use my bone folder to get a nice crease. And then you're going to take this little flap and fold it back so that it can be glued against the top of the card, the front of the card. I kind of got ahead of myself. Let me show you the rest of the supplies you need. You need to pick one accent color to use both the ink and the cardstock. This piece is 3 inches by 5.5. This black is 1 inch by 5.5, and on the inside 1.5 by 5.5. And then you need just a piece of cardstock big enough for these dies to be cut out, and of course some white scraps. Don't stress about remembering the measurements. They're all over on my website, sunnydaystamping.com. And if you'd prefer to have a printed sheet that has all the measurements, some written instructions, link to this video, and list of supplies, you can get those for free by signing up for my email newsletter. Now, if you're watching this video and it's after the date that this is released, you'll have to let me know which project sheets you need. So if you're an email subscriber, just let me know and I will shoot those project sheets over to you. Now, because I wanted this to be kind of a girly card, I'm using the Stitch So Sweetly dies. I'm going to use the biggest one for the inside, and then take these two, one for the outside and one for the inside. Then pick your favorite embossing folder. I'm going to use this little dots one, which is to emboss the front of the card and also the envelope. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And lastly, I'm going to use the In Symmetry stamp set. I think this is perfect to make a birthday card, even though it doesn't say happy birthday, best day ever. Hey friend, you are perfectly unique. I just think that's perfect. Or I'm going to send this out as a Valentine's for a friend just to know that, let them know I'm thinking of them. All right, so what happens if you don't have all these supplies? No big deal. Or if you wanted to make this for a guide, just use what you have. This can definitely be cut out in a rectangle. You don't have to emboss this layer, or use what you have. And then if I was making this for a guy, I would definitely use a different stamp set. But you can choose something that has like a little stamp to go along the edge, and then a stamp that's kind of long and narrow over here. At the end of the video, I'll show you some examples that I made, and I actually used a different stamp set to stamp a sentiment here. All right, let's get started. We're going to actually do our stamping first onto our card base, and I'm using Blushing Bride. I like to stamp on the card base first because if I make a mistake, I can just cut myself another one. But if I've glued all my stuff on it, then, then I've wasted all that. So just choose a cute little stamp to go along the edge. And this In Symmetry set has a couple cute little ones in there, and I'll show you at the end some different things I made. I just think that's so sweet. Okay, next we'll take this Best Day Ever stamp, and I'm going to ink it up with Memento Black. And I'm going to stamp it along the edge here, but I want to be able to see it when I close my card. Then I'll take this little heart and just put a little bit here. Then when I close my card, I can see that. So the next step is to work on all these die cut pieces. Now you can stamp on them first and then cut them out, but as I was testing this, it was just easier for me to cut out these pieces first. So I'm gonna go run these through my cut and emboss machine. Okay, now I'm gonna take a sentiment from the inside of that In Symmetry stamp set, and I'm gonna stamp it right here. This is gonna go on the inside. And then I'm gonna make this sweet little addition here. I'm going to start with my leaves, and then I'm just going to pull in this tulip from the front and put it here. And we're going to use some of these same elements when we decorate our envelope. So then for this one, we're going to use the big double leaf, and I'm going to just center that up in the center and kind of down towards the bottom. These photopolymer stamps are so great because you can see through them, and then the blocks are awesome because you can see through them, so you can really line stuff up nicely. And one tip for making really quick stamping, and I know it's kind of expensive, but buy all the blocks, because then you can put all your stamps on here and you can just quickly make cards. To me, it was worth the money because my time is valuable and I do this to enjoy myself. Okay, so now you'll take your 3" by 5.5" piece of colored cardstock and line it up in whatever embossing folder you're going to use and run that through your cut and emboss machine. I love this little embossing folder. It makes the cutest little polka dots. I used this in a project earlier this week. Okay, now we have all our pieces ready to glue on, so let's do that. You're gonna take your embossed layer and put some glue, and you're gonna nestle it right underneath this flap along the fold, making sure you can still fold this back and making sure it is flush on the top and bottom, and then just press it down. Now take your 1" piece and you're going to put that right on top of that embossed layer. Line it up and then make sure that will fold back. Boy, I didn't cut that very well. I'm going to go get my scissors and fix that. I don't know how I missed that. The easiest way to fix that is to turn it over and then you just cut it right along the edge there. The last thing you're going to do is glue this down. So just put some glue on this side. Whoops, there's a little too much glob right there. I'm going to try to spread it around. Make sure that your ink is dry before you go swiping along here. But you do want to give this a good press because it's so thick. This has such a nice, good weight to it. I love the quality feel of it. Now we're going to pop this up on the front. You could glue it, but I'm going to use dimensionals. Just going to pop it up a bit. Now I am starting to run low, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do because this is the same stuff that dimensionals is made for. Just rip some off the edge there. There's no reason not to use that. I'm a thrifty crafter. I'm going to use everything. And I'm just kind of putting it diagonally. I want it to cross all of the layers. Okay, for the inside, take your 1.5" strip of black. This one's probably cut incorrectly too, so I'll fix that in a minute. We're gonna bump that up against the fold, but you're gonna wanna make sure that your card will still fold. Yep, I cut it wrong. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this all the way to the top so it's flush here. Make sure this still folds. I'm going to press this down and then I'm going to snip it with my scissors. You should not have to do this because you're going to cut it right. Now take your die cut piece. Now when you place this, I want to overlap my black piece. And I don't know, I think it's interesting to not have it completely in the center. And I want to, before I press that down, I want to double check when my card is closed that I can't see that. So if you're not going to be using the liquid glue that you can move around, make sure you test that before you put on your adhesive. Lastly, take this sweet little flower. I just love it. Well, goodness, come on out. There we go. And I'm going to put it kind of diagonally across the bottom. Before I push that down, I'm going to make sure I can't see it. There we go. And this still leaves you a little room to write a note. Oh, I forgot one thing. I wanted to put a pretty little thing on the back here. So I'm going to take this same design and put it on the back because I think it's just so sweet. This would definitely have been better to do first, but that's okay. Isn't that sweet? And now we're going to do some of this on our envelope. So grab your envelope. And in that Sweet Symmetry stamp set, there's a large tulip to go with the small one. So I'm going to use that on my envelope. Got it right here. And I'm just going to kind of put it at an angle in the corner. At the end, I'll show you how I decorated some of the other cards, or the other envelopes, sorry. I'm going to put that right there. Boy, I think I'm pressing a little too hard because my image isn't turning out very well. I notice I tend to do that when I'm filming. I think I'm just like nervous. So I'm just going to put this here so it's kind of on a diagonal. And then I'm going to emboss this flap. So these tiny, these thin embossing folders will fit in a mini cut and emboss machine, which is just $60. But if you're going to emboss your envelope, you need the larger machine. So this technique will not work if you have a mini. I'll be right back. Look how cute this is. You just line up your embossing folder on the fold line. Isn't that cute? And I'm going to take the Hey Friend that's on the front of our card and put that on our envelope. Just going to put it down like this. Here is the precious card that we made. This is in Blushing Bride and the envelope. Here's one in Flirty Flamingo. And then I just went all out Valentine's on this one. I actually used Real Red and Blushing Bride. And then the envelope is just super sweet. This is Mint Macaron, and you can see I did not put a sentiment here. I just used the hearts and did thanks so much, and that's in the In Symmetry stamp set. For the next two cards, I used the Happy Birthday and Thank You out of the Sweet Ice Cream stamp set. Use what you have. You may have this one because I've used this a ton for my projects. This one is in So Saffron. And here's a different idea to do with the envelope. And this one is in Highland Heather. I used a different flower from the In Symmetry stamp set. That one's Happy Birthday from the Sweet Ice Cream. And I just put a little dot of black ink in there just with a pen. And here's a different idea to do with the envelope. This came out of the Sweet Symmetry stamp set. I thought that went well together. If you liked this video today, give me a thumbs up, hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more of my videos, you can hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notified. Thank you so much for watching. Have a sunny day.